All right. Well, joining me now is 2024 presidential candidate Governor Chris Christie. All full disclosure, my former governor. Governor, you don't like the guy. I get it. It's pretty clear. I think the world realizes that. Let's focus in on the news of the day. Donald Trump alerted the world that he was likely going to be indicted, likely going to be arrested. He's a target of another investigation. And you tweeted, as a former prosecutor, I want to see any potential indictment before I talk about the case against Donald Trump. And here's the part I don't get here. That said, let me be clear. His conduct on January 6th proves he doesn't care about our country and Constitution. Gov, I mean, there's so much to unpack here. You don't like the guy. Well, you want him indicted? Should he be indicted? Should he be out of the race? Go ahead.
He should be charged if, in fact, there's evidence that he's committed a crime that's provable beyond a reasonable doubt in front of a jury of his peers. Until then, he has a presumption of innocence. But in terms of what I said about January 6th, that is specifically about what I know, which is that he sat in the White House for hours while the attack was going on the Capitol and did absolutely nothing, despite the fact that many people, myself included, were personally asking him to put out a statement asking people not to be violent. Yet he sat there for hours and did nothing.
Well, if I may, I remember that day distinctly. He did get to the camera eventually, and maybe not as quickly as you had hoped. He did tweet saying, hey, we're the party of law and order. Let's be calm here. He also did offer various law enforcement agencies, which he was turned down, offered it to Pelosi, who would have to have pulled the trigger on that, and she pushed away. How are you indicting Trump for things that would appear to the electorate that he wasn't part of that, whatever you call it, riot, protest?
Well, first of all, Eric, I can't indict him for anything. I'm not a prosecutor anymore. I did that for 7 years. But what I will say to you is this, that he did nothing. I hear what you just said. Those all came very, very late in the game after this thing was going on for hours. And it's not just me. It's people like Mark Meadows, his own chief of staff at the time, who has said that despite pleas from him, from folks like his daughter Ivanka Trump, his son-in-law Jared Kushner, and others, Kellyanne Conway, all asking him to act and act quickly. He did not do that. And quite frankly, too, he has said that.
Do you think these indictments today, the announcement, do you think they're legitimate or politically motivated?
Eric, I can't tell. There was no indictment today. There was the sending of a target letter. And unlike all the other candidates in this race on either side who want to immediately jump when they hear a target letter to either criticize the president based upon those things or defend him based on those things. Since I'm the only one in this race who has done this work, I can tell you don't know anything until you actually see the indictment. So that's why I said what I said in the tweet that I sent out. Let's see the indictment first. Let's read it, see what evidence that the special counsel has, if in fact an indictment comes, and then give your opinion. I just think it's better to read something before you give the opinion.
Chris Christie, the man, the father, the human, the politician, the contributor to ABC. Chris Christie, do you think Donald Trump had an interest in inciting the overthrow of the American government that day?
But quite frankly, I don't think he cared one way or the other, Eric. I think what he wanted was to stay in office. And I don't think he cared one way or the other what was going to happen. In fact, if he really did care, he would have done what he said he was going to do. When he stood on the ellipse, he said, let's march up to the Capitol together, and I'm going to go with you. He went nowhere near it, Eric. He didn't care what was going to happen up there. He sent people up there to put pressure, I believe, on Mike Pence and on members of Congress to stall the peaceful transition of power. And he said as much later on when he said that it's okay to suspend the Constitution. You can't take an oath, Eric, to say you're going to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and then say it's okay to suspend it.
Why are you running, Governor? Why are you running? Donald Trump he's got like 53, 56%, if you believe the polls or any given poll. You're down in the single digits. I mean, what motivates Chris Christie to run for president? Is it to take out Donald Trump, or Chris Christie is sort of fulfilling some sort of, I don't know, emotional void that you're looking for? Why are you running?
All right. Oh, Eric, are you a psychiatrist today? If you're a psychiatrist, spend more time on the former president than you will on me. Let me remind you that at this time in 2015, Donald Trump was at 6% and Jeb Bush was at 24%. And so and I also remember the polls because I was deeply involved in the president's 2016 campaign that all told us that Hillary Clinton was going to win that race going away up into including the exit polls that night. I'm running because I believe that the country needs a change, that Joe Biden is an awful president of the United States, should have never been there, and it's only because of Donald Trump's failings that he is there. And what we need to do is to move this country in a new direction.
Here's the question.
Stop looking backwards.
He said he's not going to debate on that August 23rd Fox debate. He says, I need to. Why should he? He pointed out you're at 4, and he said, why should I let someone at 4, ask me questions? Do you really want to debate Donald Trump? The guy RFK Jr. called him the best debater in the history of politics.
Well, you know what? If he's the best debater in the history of politics, then if he gets on the stage, he's about to be uncrowned as the best debater in politics. And by the way, if he is, Eric, then he should get on that stage. By the way, I'm at 10% in New Hampshire and in 3rd place, where this first primary is going to occur in 2024. And we're going to go in there, and he should be on that stage because he owes it to the Republican Party voters to get on the stage, defend his record, and talk about his vision for the future.
Would you run? Would you
scared to get on the stage? Is he scared to get on the stage, Eric?
Would you be his vice president if he asked you?
No.
Fair enough. We'd have to. I
spoke to Mike Pence. The job doesn't. I spoke to Mike Pence. The job doesn't sound like it was too great.
Mike Pence. Speaking of Mike Pence, Mike who? I'm just kidding. I'm teasing. Governor Chris Christie, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Very unfair to a good conservative like Mike. Very unfair.
Well, no, listen, he was asked a question about how Americans should take the war and spending $140 billion, and he says he didn't care how the Americans felt about that.
Not what he said, but that's okay. We shouldn't have had people on Capitol Hill chanting "Hang Mike Pence" after the service Mike has given to the country, and the service he gave to Donald Trump for 4 years, and Donald Trump said that was okay. That the kind of president we want, Eric?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I interviewed Donald Trump before the 2020 re-election, and I said, why don't you switch out Pence? Because I didn't think he was the right guy for him. To be honest with you, I'm just being completely transparent. Governor, really appreciate your time. We're out of time. We'd love to get you back. And listen, I know it gets contentious, but you're a stand-up guy, and I appreciate you coming on the show and getting in the ring. And that's what we need. We need fighters. We need political fighters. Thank you, sir.
You know I'm a fighter, Eric, and thanks for having me on, and I will be back.
Thank you very much. All right, folks, coming up, Joe Biden.